Hello and welcome to this month's roundup of spoilers and possible plot twists of books that I've read. I'm Olivia, your new favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. So, this is going to be a new monthly series where I'm talking about just the spoilers and the kind of noteworthy plot twists of the books that I read this month. I'm not going to cover every single book I read this month because some of them are pretty predictable, but I thought this would be a fun way to just ruin the book for you. Usually, all my other videos are spoiler free, but this will just forge ahead with a general premise of the story and then the spoiler that stood out to me. First up is To Tempt a Scotsman by Victoria Dahl. And in this one, the general premise is that the lady is ruined and the cause of a duel. And then the brother of the man who lost the duel is coming to look for her to find information of the other guy. But then he's attracted to her and can't stay away. And somehow they decide to have a week-long tryst at a cottage. Well, it turns out she's not actually ruined. She is still a virgin, well, was until the week long tryst. So the man feels compelled to marry her. But then, somewhere down the line, he has like a total personality change and becomes a horrible, terrible, jealous husband. The second book of that same series is A Rake's Guide to Pleasure. Now, in this one, a lady pretends to be a widow so that she can play at gambling tables in London, and somehow a duke is onto her and trying to figure out her schemes. It turns out that she is an orphan. She is running away from a man who thinks he's in love with her, but he is actually a religious zealot who needs salvation by marrying her. And then we find out that he was the one who set a fire that killed her uncle. The third book of the series is One Week as Lovers. And in this one, a lady fakes her death to run away from a terrible suitor. And her childhood friend comes to pay his respects and finds the dead woman haunting his house, but she's not really dead. Well, it turns out the lecherous suitor that she is running away from is the same man who abused and nearly killed the Viscount many years ago. The Duke's Secret Cinderella by Eva Devon is your basic Cinderella retelling, with the lady being oppressed and treated like a servant by her stepfather. Somehow the Duke meets her and thinks she's like a proper lady and is falling in love, even though she's like, no, I can't. At some point, though, the lady is locked up and then kidnapped and trying to be forced to marry her stepbrother so that her stepfather can control her fortune because she's actually a princess. The Proposition by Judith Ivory. We have a refinement tutor who is giving elocution lessons to a London rat catcher, hoping to fool a ballroom full of people that he's a gentleman and a lord. Well, at the end of the book, we find out that the rat catcher is actually the long lost grandson of an elderly and ailing duke and inherits the whole thing. In Never Seduce a Duke by Vivian Lorette, a nerdy duke thinks that a young lady stole his family relic and chases her across Europe. Well, when they finally sleep together, they get separated by circumstance. She goes home, she realizes she's pregnant, and then I turned the page and it was a 2-year time jump. I didn't see that one coming. Also, the true villain of the story is the Duke's older half sister, and she's the one who messed with all the messages between the two and caused his parents to be murdered many years ago. And lastly, I will tell you about Stealing Midnight by Tracy McNish. We have a daughter of an anatomist who, well, the anatomist dissects corpses, not the daughter. She finds one of them still alive and rescues him. He turns out to be the son of a duke, and he's already engaged to a lady who is scheming and manipulative. Turns out that the man's evil fiance had tricked him into proposing by giving him a lust powder that made him unable to keep his hands off of her, and afterwards, his noble and honorable self offered marriage. Well, I knew she convinced him somehow. There's no way they actually fell in love. But anyway, those are the spoilers of the books that I read this month that caught me off guard or surprised me. Let me know if these were spoilers that kind of surprised you as well, or if you have another book that you want me to spoil. Thanks so much for watching this video. Links to all of these books are in the description box, and like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. You can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.